Hey everybody, my name is Ashley Rush and I'm an independent creative memories advisor located in North Carolina. Today I'm continuing our series on how to use your scraps. Scraps are such a big part of our world. I mean, we don't call it scrapbooking for nothing, but we always end up with little pieces of this and little pieces of that and a whole bunch of stickers left over. And I just want you guys to be able to use all of your papers, all of your collections so that you're getting every penny out of it. You're more likely to continue this hobby if you don't feel like you're wasting your money or your time. So I hope you guys enjoy this. I was inspired by a fellow member of the Creative Memories virtual crop group. Her name is Ayana Champina. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. I'm sorry. But I saw her layout and I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. I need to do something just like it for my channel. So here I am. Thank you guys for inspiring me. To complete this project, you will need something to serve as your base. I am using a piece of light gray cardstock, but you could use a sheet of designer paper or build this directly on your traditional page. You will need some scraps. I am using 1-inch pieces, so I had some 1-inch strips left over from my Staycation collection, and I have cut some of them into 1 by 1-inch squares. We'll finish doing that in a few minutes. You'll also need a tape runner as well as your 12-inch trimmer. And then when it comes time to decorate, you may want stickers, embellishments, or maybe even some of our variety map packs. So let's go ahead and get started. As I said, I've already cut some of my strips into 1-inch squares. I'm going to finish doing that. Now, because I'm going to be assembling these guys into sort of a mosaic, I want them to be as uniform as I can get them. So I'm going to go ahead and stack my strips up, getting them as close to even as possible. And I'm going to cut them all at once so that I know that I'm hitting the marks at least kind of close on all of them. So I'm going to put them on the bed. Now you can use your hand to keep these straight. You can use some of our multi-purpose clips, maybe even a paper clip to keep them together. I think I'm going to be able to manage by just using my hands to gather them. You're going to want to apply a lot of pressure because I don't know if I have 5 or 6 strips here. So I've gone ahead and cut some. Now I'm just going to move my pile over and continue cutting until I am all done. You're going to want to use at least 4 1 by 12-inch strips so that you've got a total of 48 squares. I think with this one I added some more colors. That's okay. It's okay to use extra, but you'll need at least 48 inches worth of paper. All right. So as I said, I was using Staycation. These all happen to be from the same collection. You do not have to pull your scraps from the same collection. So long as they look good together, this is going to work. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to pull all of these scraps out. I'm going to divide them into piles based upon their design, and I'm going to pick an order in which I'm going to do this. All right, I've separated my piles. Let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 8 different patterns. I don't have to use all of them, so I'm gonna sort of mix and match and figure out what I like. All right, I think I'm going to eliminate this sort of wood pattern one just because it's kind of close to my background paper and I want to lean into darker colors. This white and navy blue, I think I'm gonna get rid of. Just again, the dots and the patterns aren't picked up super great in the way that I've cut it, so I'm just gonna go ahead and eliminate that. And then this sort of pinkish color, I'm not a fan, not a super big fan, so I'm gonna eliminate that as well. So I went from 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I now have 7 different designs here. And I've got my paper. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to follow this pattern and I am going to make a mosaic border all the way around my paper. Now you could lay these cattywampus style, so like do some overlapping and do some overlapping, make it sort of whimsical. So let's see if I can pull that up for you guys. Just sort of like adjusting the angles as necessary, spreading out. This is good if you're not super sure that you cut everything in exact squares. Now I'm going to go more straight on, where I'm just going to line them up in a line and continue going forward. Now I'll have extra squares, and because I have extra squares, I'm going to like look at some of mine one with patterns. Like here I have these speech bubbles, and I'm going to sort of go through and pick ones that have more of the bubbles represented, so you know what is happening in that pattern. I've turned my paper sideways just because where I'm sitting, that is the easier position for me to see what is happening on my paper for lining up. As I'm lining up the pieces, I'm making sure that that interior line is straight. If it's hanging over the edge on the outside, that's fine. I can always come back and trim that up and make it look cleaner. Now, if you get to a point where you're putting your tiles down and you have a weird amount of space left at the top, you've got 2 options. You can keep going with your pattern, knowing that you're going to have some overhang here, and then you can trim off, or you can choose to cut it short already and go ahead and continue with your pattern going this way, and then that way you have closer to a full square, and then you'll just trim this and you can use it as a center. So I'm going to go with that option and continue on with my pattern. Once you've finished your mosaic pattern, you can pull your trimmer out and we'll do some trimming. You can use your sight lines to sort of line up where you need to trim off the excess. Now you have a beautiful center square that you can put on your base page. Now, you know, I didn't do this perfect. There are some gaps here. It kind of gets a little wonky in parts. That's okay, guys. Like, no one is going to be coming at your pages with a magnifying glass. Now, obviously, this is now smaller than a 12 by 12. We'll take another piece of cardstock and we can center this piece on that. Now, again, you could go sort of cattywampus, you can do straight on, whatever floats your boat. So you guys can see that while I was doing this, I was trying my best to keep patterns that were directional in the proper direction. So these houses, for example, they're all facing up. The speech bubbles at least make most sense in this pattern, and my little map pins are also going up and down. Now from here we can decorate, maybe do a border sticker or some mats. Let's see what we have going on. I've got quite a few mats left over. We didn't really bring in a lot of oranges, so maybe set that one aside. I like the idea of these stripes, or even that one's really nice. Brings in the blues. This one's cool because it's, you know, it's sort of mimicking all of those different layers. I like that one. Home is where the Wi-Fi is. That one could be kind of fun. All right. So now, sort of depending upon what the theme of my page will be, I've got some different mat options. So you've got a place for a photo here. I think I really like this sort of map dot one. I might cut it in half though and put, you know, the map dot like kind of here with a title and then a place, and then put the other half here for some journaling, and then have another place for a photo down here. So let's go ahead and do that. Right. So I've got a photo spot here and here. I've got a place to journal up here, and then down at the bottom I've got this little decorative piece that I'm going to throw my title on top of. So again, this was Staycation. I did this earlier with the Serene waters, which is just so beautiful. This one, to me, reminds me of sea glass. It looks like a mosaic that you would find like at a church somewhere near the beach. It just really makes me happy. Do you guys have a favorite of the two? All right, guys, what did you think of that? It was a really great learning experience for me. I have discovered that I am not great at lining things up straight. So, but the quick tip of like just trimming off edges, making it like a centerpiece to mount on top of something else, that was fantastic. I love that. In fact, I maybe even like that better than the original idea that was floating in my head. So that was really fun. I shall endeavor to practice cutting straight and lining things up straight. I think part of the problem is just where I like to sit while I film. I don't always want to stand, and from the angle I'm sitting at, I keep looking over here because this is where I film. From the angle where I sit at, sometimes it's just hard, and otherwise it's up, down, all sorts of noise. So, I just sort of go with it, and I know that you guys will forgive me and love me no matter what happens. So thank you guys for that. If you guys are interested in seeing other creations by people, make sure you check out the Creative Memories virtual crop group. There is a virtual crop every month and challenges and inspiration, and it is a super, super great group to be a part of. Speaking of Facebook, make sure you guys check me out on Facebook and Instagram. I post daily content, and it is the best place to reach me one-on-one. And if you're looking for even more inspiration, why don't you check out my website? I post and host online, virtual, and in-person events. I have just posted a new class that is coming out next month in September, in case you're watching this on replay, that will be using an advisor-only paper pack and advisor-only stickers, and we'll be creating 3 beautiful pages. I also have a secret box crop coming up, and the only way to get into that is by purchasing the secret box from me. All right, and then if you saw anything else in this video that you love, check it out at my website at creativememories.com/cm/AshleyRush. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next week. Bye.